Bitcoin is soaring the new multi-month highs, ETF records are being broken, and key altcoin players are being dethroned as new ones rise up to take their place. Well, welcome back everyone. My name is Brendan from Crypto 101, and today we have a very big cryptocurrency market update in store for all of you because there's a lot going on and the whole crypto market is rallying across the board here with, again, Bitcoin being the forerunner in this action. But we got some news on not only the Bitcoin front, but also on altcoins as well, because as I just mentioned, there's a lot happening there. We now have a fifth largest blockchain by TVL. It might surprise you, it might not. We're definitely going to be diving into it. So all that we ask over here is that if you like the content that we make, consider hitting that like and subscribe button as we have a lot more content coming out in the not so distant future. So what in the world is happening here in the crypto markets? Well, as we can see from this daily chart on the screen, Bitcoin has been doing nothing but rallying for the last couple of weeks. In fact, if we go back to really the start of September, it's just been this really strong upwards movement, especially in the last week or so since last Thursday. Bitcoin has actually appreciated about $10,000, pushing $11,000 now in terms of upside price movement from a low of $58,000 last Thursday to a new high of almost $69,000 at the time of recording this video. So why is this happening? What's happening in the background? And the kind of question to that answer has a lot to do with what we're seeing through the Bitcoin ETFs. There's a ton of retail and institutional interest that is flooding into these Bitcoin ETFs. I mean, just the other day, we saw the inflows hit $556 million, which is the highest level that we've seen on these Bitcoin ETFs in months. In fact, we haven't seen a level like this, and I'm going to throw up the charts here. We have not seen a level of inflows this high in a very long time on Bitcoin, marking new multi-month highs. In fact, we're going to have to zoom out even more because I think the level that we had seen, this was the highest level that we had seen since around June or July of earlier this year. So not only are we seeing billions of dollars, and yes, that's billions of dollars of inflows, we're also seeing that the trading volumes are sky high as well. I mean, just the other day between BlackRock and Fidelity's ETFs alone on October 15th, we saw over $2.38 billion in trading volume, which is a monumental number to say the least. And so what we can actually do here is go back to these Bitcoin ETFs and track how much money has come into them over the course of the last week. And so starting off on October 14th, we can see that the Bitcoin ETFs had over $555 million come into them. Then the very next day, on October 15th, we had another $371 million in inflows. Then the day after that, on October 16th, we had another $458 million in inflows, which brings us to a grand total of over $1 billion pouring into these Bitcoin ETFs here in the States, which is an extremely large number. Again, this is one of the biggest weeks of inflows that we have seen in a very, very long time. And the cool part here is that not only are we seeing Bitcoin's price appreciate, not only are we seeing ETF inflows skyrocket, we're also seeing trading volume go absolutely ballistic here. So there's a lot of good things that are happening, and kind of out of this, Bitcoin is trying to break out of its 7-month slump. And that's one of the things that we took a look at the very, very beginning here, is just acknowledging the fact that, hey, Bitcoin, and we've talked about this on the channel before, but Bitcoin has been range bound inside this channel for so long, and everybody has been asking, when are we going to get out of this thing? And it looks like Bitcoin is doing that exactly now. It looks like the end of this consolidation phase is in sight. I'm not going to say that we are completely done with it. I certainly hope that we are, but I know that at least here in the States, we're going into an election season. I can imagine that there's going to be a little bit of choppy price action. So I'm not going to say it's just all up and tomorrow we hit new all-time highs. I think that there can be a little bit of choppiness, but the big takeaway that I have here is that the net positive, or the net kind of opinion that I have, is that I am net bullish from here on out. Meaning that I don't think that we're going to crash to a new low of $40,000 by the end of this year. In fact, I think that we gradually move upwards here instead of staying in this consolidation phase for much longer. So as we move into the remainder of this year, even going into 2025, I'm net bullish about what I'm looking at on not only Bitcoin, but altcoins as well. Because if we kind of shift gears here and look at what's happening inside the altcoin market, we can see that a couple altcoins have been skyrocketing to new all-time highs. Sui is a great example of this, hitting that new all-time high. Mantra is another great example of this, hitting a new all-time high. And we can actually expand these thoughts over to the base ecosystem as well. Because what we saw this week, or I guess last week, depending on when you're watching this, is that Base has officially become the largest Ethereum rollup, or the largest Ethereum layer 2 in terms of TVL. Now, what this also means is that they have dethroned Arbitrum for the #1 spot. And this also makes Ethereum the now in the top 5 blockchains by TVL, behind Ethereum, Tron, Solana, and BNB. Now, a couple things to note here is that they have about $2.5 billion roughly in terms of TVL on Base, and it's also a fairly new blockchain. I mean, this thing didn't really become popular until around New Year's. It was out a little bit before then, and it had been in the works for a while, but Base has exploded onto the scene in this last year. It's now in the top 5 blockchains by TVL, and over half, or almost half, of Base's TVL comes from a single project that's built on top of it that you might have heard of, called Arbitrum. Now, Arbitrum represents, and it's in here somewhere, I think right here, that they represent about $1.3 billion of the TVL for Base. So they're a big and a key player over here. But again, altcoins are thriving, and Base kind of steps in here to just start dethroning projects, and they quickly have become a new standard for layer 2s. And if you look at a lot of their competitors, if you look at things like Matic, or if you look at things like Arbitrum, and then you look at something like the Arbitrum chart, there's a very clear difference where Arbitrum is trending upwards, and some of these other competitors in the L2 space just are not doing as good as they used to, because Base is here stealing a lot of market share away from them. So the altcoin market is booming. There's a lot of attention getting drawn back into the crypto space. And I've also seen quite a few titles like this one and news articles saying, hey, the crypto industry is set for gains. The Bitcoin market, or the altcoin market, or crypto-related stocks, or you fill in the blank here. This one just happens to be talking about MicroStrategy. But there's a lot of articles that are starting to float back around here saying, hey, the crypto market is poised for something big. We're seeing record inflows, record trading volumes, giant spikes in TVL. We're seeing giant spikes in price action of Bitcoin and altcoins, and so much more. And so I challenge everyone to not pay attention to all the FUD that might be out there. We had some recently about different groups that were going to try to sell Bitcoin, or regulation, or whatever it may be, with the SEC giving out Wells notices and lawsuits and all this other crap. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again, but the price of Bitcoin just does not care, and it's nothing that we haven't seen in the past. So as we move into the future here, if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty bullish. I think that there's a lot of great things to come. Again, I'm not saying that there can't be speed bumps in the road. It's not like we can't have a red day here and there and fall down a little bit before rising higher. But I think that as we go through next year, I think we're going to look back on $68,000 and say, hey, this actually was an area to be overall optimistic and bullish about the health of the crypto market. So that's going to go ahead and wrap us up, everyone. If you want to follow more and you want to get connected with everything that we're doing, check out our YouTube channel. It's the Crypto 101 podcast on YouTube. We have lots of great podcasts and tutorials and market updates that are going up there multiple times a week, every week. And we also have some really cool communities that you all can be a part of as well, such as Crypt Nation and Altcoin Alert. So we're going to have some links in the description down below so that you all can check us out. And if you want to get plugged in, we believe that that's the best way to do it. So thank you all for watching. And until next week, we're going to see all of you at the same time, same place.